Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for spending your lunch hour with us today. Hopefully you have a pizza in front of you if you asked for one, or it'll be there shortly. Today I'm joined by Scott Rabba with Barracuda, and I'm Chris Riley from System Source. And we'll be diving into how do we stop email attacks, which almost all of us know is one of the primary vectors that the bad guys use to start their attacks. We'll look at how is AI helping both for the good guys as well as for the bad guys. And so we'll be taking a look at that. So on the agenda, after a few introductory remarks by me, then Scott will jump in. So we'll start taking a look at kind of the good and the bad there, as I mentioned. Also looking at what are some of the latest threats that we're seeing. And with Barracuda, with their large ecosystem of protection that they have out there for literally tens of thousands of customers, they see what's going on, so they can take a look at that, also how to protect against it. We'll also take a look at what's kind of already getting through your traditional defenses. And then there'll be a tool later on that you can run for free in your Microsoft 365 environment that will look for those latent threats that have made it through. They just haven't been activated yet. So we can look for those kinds of things. We'll look at post-email delivery threat hunting. So not just stopping it up front, but what about if it's made it through? Look at the nature of backup, and then we'll have Q&A at the end. All right, a few housekeeping notes. So hopefully you have that pizza, but if it's not shown up yet, note Julie Dellinger's email address. It's on the screen. You can reach out to her if it hasn't made it in the next few minutes. Be a little bit patient there. They may be looking for your address. If you're working from your home office, if you're at your office, you may want to look for where food disappears in your office, or perhaps a lot of times the front doors are locked, and you may check on the other side of that locked front door. You may find a pizza delivery person in your lobby to check there, but if not, please feel free to reach out to Julie. All right, a few other housekeeping things. First is that the audio is in presentation mode, so you'll be able to hear Scott and I, but we won't be able to hear you. But we do that on purpose so that any background noise, musical on hold, those types of things that where our participants may be don't come through to the whole group. But you can reach me at any point through the chat tab, right, and go to webinar, as well as through the questions tab. Just drop your questions, whatever you think of it, throughout the session, right into the questions tab. We'll save up the questions for the end of the session, and then I'll read those out to Scott so that he can answer those. Any questions we can't get to, or that due to time, or that are very specific to your your situation, having him writing allows us to be able to get back to you after the fact, because we want to make sure that you've gotten the value out of this educational session. This presentation is recorded, and we'll send you a link to the recording as well as the PDF for the slides that you're seeing after the fact this afternoon, so you'll have those. And then finally, there is an evaluation at the end. If you can, you get an email for that. If you can take a moment to do it, it literally takes a minute or so. And there's also a number of different options for additional things that you might, additional resources that you might want, and you can just easily click them there, and we'll get those over to you. And I'll mention those at the end as well. Okay, just a little bit about System Source. We do have a number of new folks joining us today, so we want to say a special welcome to you as well as to our current System Source friends. So a lot of folks come to us when they need to acquire new technology, whether that's in-user computing technology, laptop, desktops, printers, those types of things. But most of the work we do, probably 80 or 90% of the work that we do, is right in the data center, and that can be in the traditional on-prem or in the more more recent cloud variants. So that would be Amazon Web Services, but most of our work today is being done in Microsoft Azure, as well as, of course, the on-prem data center. In addition to other locations where your clients are going to have servers and storage and networking equipment and security-related devices and software, like co-location centers, other data centers, software as a service, all of those types of things happen in those modern data center, and we work to do design work for all of those things, from compute, storage, to security, to network infrastructure, from doing design, implementation, and the long-term support of those as clients need. People acquire because they really want to improve things, not just acquire for acquisition's sake, of course. So we talked a little bit about our consulting and cloud services work, as well as now we also do training with about 600 plus courses on our schedule at any one point. And all the technologies I've just mentioned, plus about 36 others, and as well as specific training, for example, in Cisco or those types of things, are all available through the System Source Learning Center. You can note the variety of classes right off the course schedule on our website. Present is professional AV, so all those WebEx rooms, Zoom rooms, Teams rooms, so all the large monitors, projectors, microphones, speaker systems, designing that into the room right from up front into the tables, all of those types of things, including digital signage, with all the types of work that our presentation systems group does, whether it's for conference centers, presentation rooms, auditoriums, huddle spaces, etc. Then finally, we maintain all these things I've just talked about either on a reactive basis. You call us when something goes bump, whether it's during the day or during the night. After hours, just follow the voice prompts on our main number, and that will get you to our on-call staff, whether you have a contractor, not with us, and managed services where we are the IT department for dozens of organizations in this region, and that's on a proactive basis. There are several upcoming webinars. I'll note those here. So one is on securing your Azure storage. So if you have Azure storage or are considering it, you may want to consider that session next week. And then we'll be looking at a whole Wi-Fi topic. So what are some of the lessons that we've learned from designing 500 plus Wi-Fi networks? So we've learned a couple things in that period of time. If you're looking at Wi-Fi or how to improve what you've got, the session on the 17th may be of interest for you. And finally, we'll close out the month with one that's going to be looking at the Verizon report. Many of you are familiar with the Verizon report since it delves into actual security incidents and what can be drawn from those. It's been done annually for many years, and we'll delve into this new report that's just been released. I'll go ahead and drop the links for those registration for those upcoming webinars right into the chat while Scott is speaking. With that, let me go ahead and turn this over to Scott, please.
Awesome. Well, great to be here. Thank you, Chris, for the introduction. And as Chris said, we're going to talk a little bit about AI. As we all know, in the IT cybersecurity field, there's always new buzzwords, and AI has been front and center over the last several months, both good and bad. And as we all know, AI is having and will continue to have an impact on the email threat landscape. First and foremost, by making the threats increasingly complex. It's long gone are the days of just identifying email threats by misspellings and grammar and things like that. It has gotten to the point now where, as I'm sure you have probably heard at one point or another, we have people who are doing interviews with AI generated deep fakes and not even realizing it until the very end. And so this is having a profound impact on the cybersecurity and email threat landscape. In fact, predicted attacks attributed to AI in 2025 is going to approach 75%. So again, it's not just the average Joe sitting down crafting an email trying to get you to do something. These are people who are leveraging the power of AI to make it harder and harder to detect and easier to bypass the traditional security methods to get into a user mailbox. And as this all leads to is there's going to be an increase in spend. It was projected to be, or was about 30 billion in 2024, and that's expected to grow by 2030 to $134 billion. And that's going to be the use of AI in threat detection and remediation, the use of AI and other components. But the reality is that AI spend is going to continue to increase. And truth be told, using AI to help drive security has been shown to save companies. Now, not every company is going to be spending millions of dollars on a breach. However, there are companies out there that certainly do and have had that happen. But having AI-driven security does save companies money. And so it is definitely something to look at as you're moving forward with your cybersecurity posture. And finally, when you look at a survey of professionals out there that look at this, they absolutely believe overwhelmingly 85% that AI-driven attacks are absolutely harder to detect. And think about it. There was a study, not a study, but an article I read little bit ago that talked about how even despite organizations using security awareness training, they were seeing an increase in users clicking on bad emails. And why is that? I think this is part of the reason right here is AI. It is much more difficult to detect. And unless your security awareness training platform is training based around AI, it's not going to be effective in help or educating your users on what to look out for. So just some stats to start with. I always like to mention, at Barracuda, yes, we are talking about some email protection right here, but we have a full portfolio of products spanning email, data, application, and network protection. And then really overarching everything is our managed XDR platform. But for today, email protection. As we've kind of hammered home, email-borne risk is an existential threat. And it's no longer the ability to just secure your email with a gateway solution. Whether you're using a third-party solution, whether you're using Microsoft, it's gone beyond that. In fact, you've seen the headlines. This is ongoing. I mean, there's probably not a day that goes by that you don't hear about some email attack that has happened, some breach that has occurred that can be traced to an email, some ransomware that has happened for an organization where they've had to pay money. I saw something, I can't remember what it was, but the organization paid several $100,000 to the feds for a breach that they just had. So this is not going to go away. It's going to continue, and so we have to be prepared to protect against it. So, but why do email attacks continue to succeed? Three basic points, and this really sums it up. First of all, the use of AI, social engineering, and evolving tactics. AI, for all of its benefits, is being used to counteract the traditional detection methods that are out there. Social engineering, we all know that the human element, the human piece of our organization is both our greatest asset and our weakest link. And then finally, just that evolving tactics. I was talking with a customer today and they were mentioning something about how they were getting all of these pings on their firewall and from all over the world, and they locked it down to just the US, and that slowed it down for a little bit, but then it picked right back up. Why? Well, a bad actor, if you don't want to accept my IP from wherever, I'll just VPN into the US and I'll use a US based IP address. So again, bad actors are going to continue to evolve to figure out a way to try to get into your organization. And then you layer in the fact that traditional gateways are just not designed, they never have been, they probably never will be, designed to detect the more targeted social engineering styles of attacks. Gateways are for policies, they're for rule sets, they are driven around known bad indicators in an email. And as we all know, and you've probably seen, all it takes is for you to go create a free Gmail address right now, Outlook address, Yahoo, and start spamming away. And if there's nothing inherently malicious in that email, until that has been identified by enough people as spam, that email is probably going to get past the gateway solution. So it's understanding that while the gateway still has a place, there needs to be more. And the reality is there's just fewer and fewer barriers to entry for the hackers. It's not hard. You can buy a computer for dirt cheap nowadays. You can get internet for cheap. You can get in and you can pay $20 a month to have ChatGPT and start crafting all this stuff. And that's just one. I mean, look at all the AI tools that are out there, all the large language models, all the things that everybody has access to. It's not just us on this side of the fence. It's being used by people who are on the other side of the fence. And as you've probably read, the bad actors have taken this and they have made a business model out of it. I can go out, create the scripting, create the templates, create everything, and you can just come to me and say, hey, I need this, I want to attack so-and-so. I give you that and I get a cut of the proceeds. So it's very easy to do nowadays. And so this is why email attacks continue to succeed. So again, let's look a little deeper at how AI is changing the game. And first, let's look at the bad, because we always hear that. What's the bad? Well, here's Here's some very straightforward points. The ability to create very highly targeted attacks, the ability to attack at scale, and the ability to attack with speed and precision. And when you start looking in at some of the statistics that are out there around this, 56% of IT leaders actually view the targeted phishing attacks as their top security threat. Why? Because of this right here. It can be highly targeted. It can be look very legitimate, and they can do it so fast. You know, 51% of IT professionals attribute successful cyber attacks to AI. So it's not just that they can do this. The result has been that attacks have actually occurred, that these things have not been able to be stopped. And truth be told, deepfake related cyber threats have increased by over 300% since 2022. 3 years, when we really could say 2.5 years, because we're only halfway through 2025. I mean, that is a huge uptick. Again, it just lends itself to the fact that they can be very fast, they can be very precise, they can attack in mass and be very, very targeted in what they're doing. So how do we counteract this? How do we take AI and change it from the bad to the good? And here's some of what AI is doing to help benefit you from an email security standpoint. First is continuous detection. AI doesn't have an off button. It continuously is running. It can continuously be trained. It can continuously learn. Adapting to evolving attack methods. Again, the ability to continue to learn, to be trained, to understand normal versus anomalous behavior, and then automating the response. When it sees something anomalous, being able to take action on that email before a user has a chance to interact with it, before it can become that entry point for an attack. And then preemptively managing potential vulnerabilities, being able to assess where are the weak points, where are the gaps, what do I need to plug up? Because the truth is as for as much as we all try, there's always some blind spots here and there. We're always evolving. There's always going to be 0 days that we are presented with that we have to then patch and fix. So this is an ongoing process. And 69% of cybersecurity professionals have said, look, we believe AI is going to be necessary to respond to cyber attacks. It's necessary. And when you start to break down how AI is being used and the impact it has, AI models have been shown to improve threat detection by up to 95% compared to traditional methods. And then even beyond that, it's been shown that AI-based cybersecurity can reduce incident response time by 96%. So it's not just about detecting, it's about responding, it's about even post-delivery remediation. So there's a lot of pieces where AI is beneficial now and will continue to be beneficial as things continue to evolve. It's why AI is going to be a necessity in the overall security posture. Now, when we look at how Barracuda works from an email protection standpoint, really kind of 3 pillars. We have the threat prevention, we have the detection and response, we have data protection and compliance. We're going to kind of touch on each of these 3 pillars and what we have within those particular pillars that will help you with your overall email security posture. First, threat prevention. This goes back to, the gateway solution where yes, is a gateway necessary? Some people will tell you no. We believe that the gateway still has a functional piece within the overall email security posture because it's designed to detect the more volumetric types of attacks, the spams, the malwares, the 0-day. We're going to do link protection, we're going to do attachment scanning, but understanding that it's not going to be very good for these more sophisticated attacks that you see over here on the right-hand side, the more targeted social engineering styles of attacks that are leveraging the tools like AI and machine learning to get through. And so this is where that API-based inbox defense is going to come into play. It's where we're going to leverage our tools to detect those more sophisticated attacks, take action on those emails before a user has a chance to interact. So really taking the threat prevention beyond the gateway into the inbox level. And these are usually, again, API based, so we're tying in directly to your Microsoft tenant. We're living and breathing at the inbox level. But again, we know that we're not going to catch everything. There is no solution that is 100%. There's always going to be some things that sneak by. So what does that process look like to remediate those threats? Now, generally speaking, if you're in Microsoft 365, that can be a combination of using PowerShell commands and scripts, message trace to run that. It could be, I know some organizations have no before with the FishER button, you can do that. Sometimes it could be just sending out an email to end users saying, hey, look, if you receive this email, delete it. Not always that elegant, not always that effective. And that's where we have a tool, incident response, that is designed to simplify that process. It allows users to report suspicious messages. It allows you to search for suspicious messages that have made it through. It allows you to perform automated remediation with some workflows. And there's even integration with SIEM/SOAR and XDR platforms. So again, taking the process of if something sneaks by, if something sneaks past the defenses, and ideally, this is minimal because you have some type of solution in place that's stopping the majority of the threats in the first place. But if it sneaks by, how do we very quickly identify who has that email in their mailbox, pull it back out of those users' mailboxes, and even with incident response, having the capability to see how users interacted with that email prior to the remediation occurring. Did they do anything where they opened it, clicked on a link, possibly replied to it or forwarded out, and having that intelligence, those data points to know if you need to take any further action on a user device or a user account. Now, this is all fine and dandy, but they always say the proof is in the pudding, and that's where we come in with our email threat scanner. This is a great tool that is a free tool to run. It poses no interruption to email flow whatsoever. It's an API tool that runs behind the scenes, and the whole goal is to identify gaps that are in your email security, see the value of some of the Barracuda products, and to show you threats that are still sitting inside of Microsoft 365 mailboxes. And we partnered with System Source. They actually have a link right here that you'll be able to click on and run this scan. It will run behind the scenes. It usually takes a few hours, no more than 24 hours. You don't have to leave the tab open. You can close your computer. Once it gets started, all you'll need to do is sign in with your global admin credentials, accept the permissions for that API connection, which you can sever at any time in the enterprise app section, and then let this run. Once it's finished, you'll have a report that will show you the historical threats that are hanging around in users' mailboxes over the past year. You will see them identified as impersonations or scamming, gray mail, conversation hijacks. You'll have a very comprehensive report of what email threat scanner has detected. Now, also bear in mind that what this scan is also showing you is what impersonation protection, if it had been in place, would have seen and could have taken action on if it had been in place. So really, it's not just a free scan, it's a proof of value for our impersonation protection product. So feel free, run this. If you have any questions, certainly reach out to Chris, reach out to myself. If you need any type of data sheets or more information on the scan. But again, great way to see where there may be gaps and where we could potentially come in and help you out. Last but not least, and this is always important, when all is said and done, no longer is it if I will get attacked, it's when it's going to happen. So what do you have in place to ensure the ability to recover in a very quick and timely manner with little to no disruption in your overall business routine? Now, Microsoft has said from the beginning that third-party backup is needed for Microsoft 365. It's actually in their own service agreement. Now, Microsoft has rolled out. I don't think it's been officially released GA, but they are doing some testing on their own backup solution. Now, again, Microsoft does a great job at sending, receiving email. They bolt on some security, but there's some gaps. And this is why they have recommendations like this. Now, when it comes to backing up Microsoft 365 data, we do have a cloud backup tool that allows you to back up your Exchange online, your OneDrive, your SharePoint, your Teams, and as of last September, Entra ID. And with Entra ID specifically in its current state, we're backing up users, groups, roles, and admin units. Really easy to set up. It's another API connection. Simply sign in with your global admin, accept the permissions. That triggers an initial full backup. Once that full backup is finished, it will then schedule automatic daily incremental backups. So every day it's going to do a point in time snapshot of the backup, and that data is going to be there for unlimited storage, unlimited retention. We will be able to maintain that data for licensed users. We will be able to back up shared mailboxes at no cost. We will even maintain access to historical data for people who have left your organization, also at no cost. One of the other pieces for cloud backup that we actually just rolled out recently that's been a big addition is the ability to do malware scan on restore. We wanted to make sure that if you as a customer were restoring data back from one of your backups in cloud backup, that data was free of malware that can be used as a launch point on your systems. Now, some people ask, well, why don't we do that on this way up? Well, we are doing some checking, but understand once there may be data that has some type, or malware that has some type of time release that doesn't detonate until a certain period of time. There may be data that is saved that doesn't have any known bad indicators that we are aware of at that time, which we then found out later. And then on that download, on that restore, we can then scan and detect it. So that's why we're doing the scan on restore to detect for any malware that may be contained in that data. Here is a great overview of the features and capabilities that are in the various plans that we have. So for email security, we have an advanced, we have a premium, we have a premium plus plan. And as you move through, you will see the different capabilities of the products that are within those plans. And really, when you look at it, advanced is going to be your threat prevention, detection, response. As we get into premium, we get into more disaster recovery. And then as we get into premium plus, we get more into compliance with archiving and security awareness training. All of our products within our platform for email security are modular, so you can purchase 1, 2, 3, or you can purchase into the plans. Obviously, there's some discounting built in for the plans, but this is what we have in each of the plans as far as capabilities that align with the products. So again, you guys will get this presentation after the call today. Feel free to look through this. If you have questions, you want to set up a time to talk a little bit more about the capabilities and products that we have in our email security suite, please don't hesitate. Reach out to Chris, reach out to Julie. They can certainly coordinate that. We can get you set up and do a demo, show you the functionality. We have proof of concepts. Our POCs are full functioning, so it's no different if it's paid or a POC. You will get the same functionality, so you really get to see how the product works. And in fact, you can run that email threat scan and then pivot that into a trial of impersonation protection and incident response. But again, love to have a conversation, further conversational needs, just let Chris know and we can take it from there. And with that, Chris, I think I'll be tossing it back to you.
Thank you very much, Scott. So since this is all about security today, our Learning Center has put together some especially discounted courses that are security related. This will be in your packet, of course, that you'll see that. I just want to say one thing about the email threat scan. I always call this, it makes the invisible visible, because it is looking for threats that are sitting in the inboxes of your users. So it's not actually even preventing anything new. These threats are already in your system. They just haven't been activated. And so looking for, that's why it turns that invisible into visible. So now you can choose what to do about it. You'll understand where are those threats located, what users are they located for, what types of threats that they are, and then you can decide how best to remediate, what tools that you may already own, Barracuda tools that you may want to consider. So it's a great way for seeing what's there. So now you can make a plan, and there's no charge for it, which is even better, right? And it's the same full functioning product that Scott just spoke about, but it allows you to be able to now take that snapshot look in the scanner model. So we'll make that available to you. So in the evaluation that you're going to see here in just a moment, there's a number of resources that you can ask for. The email threat scan is one. Scott alluded to some of the Barracuda XDR product earlier. So that's really looking at how do you accelerate threat detection, how do you protect all the attack surfaces, and how do you kind of augment your IT resources, which are almost always limited. So that's on there. Cloud-to-cloud backups on there, as well as some security planning whiteboard sessions at no charge. So those will be on there. I just want to highlight those on the evaluation if those are some resources that could be valuable to you. I don't see any questions at this point, so we want to say thank you very much to Scott, and thank you to each of you for spending your time with us. Hope the pizza was good and the information as well, and we look forward to seeing you in the future. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much.
Take care.